Hi, everyone. We're going to be starting in just a second. We'll just let people filter in here. Okay, so welcome everybody to Rainbow Space Magic 4.0, and I am just so happy that all of you could join us today. My name is Monique, and I am on the RSM organizing team. My pronouns are she, her, and I live here in Ottawa on the unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe. And just as a slight diversion, and the reason I'm wearing an orange shirt today is because today in Canada, it is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, when we spend some time thinking about the colonial past of this country we call Canada now, and the experience of many children in residential, Indigenous children in residential schools. So that's it for that. And I'd like to welcome our first panel of today. And I'm going to turn it over to Antonia, who is the moderator. And I welcome you all to introduce yourselves in the chat. And yeah, go ahead.
Hi, everyone, and I'll welcome you to Rainbow Space Magic 4.0 as well. This is It's All About Me, feeling comfortable with promotion, marketing, and other post-publishing work panel. So a few logistics before we introduce ourselves. You're welcome to use the chat to talk to each other and share recommendations in a respectful manner. If you'd like to submit a question to the panel, please put a question mark before the question so it's obvious for the tech person and the panelists. There'll be time for questions in the second half of the panel, but feel free to write them as soon as you think of them. After the panel, the conversation will continue in Discord. So without further ado, let's get to our panel. So first, I'll ask our panelists to introduce themselves. Virginia, how about you go first?
Okay. Hey, folks. Virginia Black. I write sapphic speculative fiction, which is a nice way of saying I like writing nerdy stuff that generally includes girls kissing. I have 2 novels. I'm sorry. My first novel, Consecrated Ground, paranormal romance, came out earlier this year. My next novel, No Shelter But the Stars, comes out in February. I've also contributed to a number of anthologies, and I write a mess of fanfic. So I live in the Pacific Northwest.
Awesome. How about MD?
Yeah, hi, MD Grimm. I also live in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, I love it. So I write romances and mostly paranormal, fantasy, sci-fi with a plethora of queer characters. And I've written actually almost 40 novels or novellas, combination thereof. And I started publishing in 2011. I think it was my first story. It wasn't good at all, so I fixed it and republished it later. So, yeah.
Awesome. And I'm Antonia Aquilante. I am not in the Pacific Northwest. I'm on the other coast. I'm in New Jersey. So I am the only one here on a panel. But I write queer fantasy romance. I have, let's see, my 11th book just came out in August. It was also my first self-published book. So I'm very excited about that. Mostly, yeah, like it's fantasy romance, lots of intrigue and sometimes dragon shifters. That tends to be my work. Awesome. So I guess we should actually talk about promotion, which I know is a sticky subject for a lot of us. So since the panel is called Feeling Comfortable with Promotion, let's start there. I know it can be, yeah, something that's very difficult to do and feel comfortable doing. So I guess, yeah, like, do you feel sort of uncomfortable putting yourself out there? Like, how have you kind of gotten over that, if you've gotten over that?
I guess for myself, I'm comfortable with it, but I think I'm just still trying to figure out how best to promote, how best to utilize the tools that are out there to expose my writing and my books to everyone. So I think it's like I'm willing to do the work, and I'm more than happy to talk about my books or talk about fantasy or mythology in general and just be part of that discourse, but it's finding the right tools to do it, because there's definitely no magic formula to it. It's either, the right person, people see it at the right time and it just blows up, or you still just stay in the background, still trying. So is just trying to utilize the tools, but then also wondering how many tools are too many tools for you as a single person to wrangle. Because I have a newsletter, I have a Facebook account, I try to do like promo, like blog tours, I try to do sales or freebies, or there's all these things, but then obviously if no one knows about it, it's not going to work. So then how do you get that out to a broader audience that's going to see it? So it's that I want to, but how?
As a newer writer, particularly compared to the two of you, I am still learning the promotion landscape. I started, as many nerds do, in the fan fiction realm, and then transitioned to submitting shorts to anthologies, and was lucky to have a few of those published before I wrote my first novel, and that novel found a home at Bywater Books. But being less of a nerd and more of a business person in my other realm, the one that actually puts all the food on the table and pays the mortgage for the most part at this stage, I really wanted to research, okay, how do people do this? How do other authors do this? And what I found was there was this scale of discomfort. There was actually writing, then there was editing, then there was I'm not sure which is higher, writing the synopsis or writing the blurb in terms of pain level.
Ooh.
And then after that, the most excruciating adjectives generally were related to promotion. And because there were so many different things to try, and because I was new and because I was building my platform, from the ground up, I kind of had to limit, and I'm still limiting exactly what it is that I try. Otherwise, I'm not going to know what actually works. And fighting the discomfort of trying something new was not as important as giving myself permission to fail, okay, we're going to try this, and if this doesn't work, we're going to take that as input, we're going to take that as data. You can cry or scream for 5 minutes, but then get right back to it. And that the other thing was, I could affect what I'm doing, but I couldn't affect what the response is, right? That's not on me. And so I can't really, I don't want to give myself too much crap for that part. So it's kind of about setting up these agreements with myself about, okay, this is what we're going to try, and we're going to do our best, and calm down.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I think, because I don't know, I am one of the major introverts people. I know a lot of us writers are. So yeah, talking about my books, it's still, one of those things, you're putting yourself out there, you're putting your writing out there. But yeah, it's something you have to do. And yeah, kind of figuring out what works has been, I think, the most difficult, if anything works. I feel like the landscape changes constantly. I don't know. Maybe is that just me or
No,
No?
it is. And I mean, and this is really interesting because there's only so much of the landscape that you can affect. And you kind of go back and forth between, okay, I'm gonna have my newsletter and my blog because that's mine and I control the access to that for me. And then there's Twitter and which I understand that I am dead naming an application, but I have some bitterness about the new owner and have decided this is the only instance of my entire life where I will dead name anything. So Twitter,
I think we can
Facebook,
probably all agree that's
pick a platform. And right now I'm in the process of really trying to spend more time on Blue Sky, because I know of an experience where someone who had a Facebook account for 14 years abruptly was booted with no warning. No, you can't what's the word, appeal, you can't, forget it, here's your download file, sayonara. And it reminded me that we have, not only is the landscape changing, but for the most part we don't control a lot of it. And so trying to pick, okay, these are the places where I think I can spend the most time while also making sure that there's at least something that's all mine, just in case, and to keep that ring up. And one other thing before I forget, the being an introvert, I'm not as introverted, but at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm comfortable with doing all of these things. And I didn't want to jump off all of these cliffs. So I just picked like one thing in each. Okay, I'm going to do one slightly uncomfortable thing in this area, and then one slightly uncomfortable thing here. And so I'm progressively growing, but I'm not like headlong off one of those cliffs where you dive. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I've been sort of same thing, like, especially with when I first started, it was, well, yeah, everything was different. So, I had Twitter and I had Facebook and okay, great. I was on those and I had my blog but yeah, the social media landscape was different. I feel like you could get a little more traction sometimes on those. And now it's like, yeah, everything's all over the place. And I feel like I'm trying different Twitter alternatives and let's see what works. And yeah, now Blue Sky, and I've just started on there and seeing how that goes. But yeah, I think I have learned that focusing much more on exactly what Virginia said, like what you can control. So building my newsletter, posting more on my blog, and then trying to get the word out about that so people will sign up for that and read the blog. Yeah, trying a little bit more of that. Seeing what works, I guess. And hopefully not feeling like you're just shouting into the void. I don't know.
Yeah, I've noticed that some writers can really be very open and talkative on Facebook, because that's the only social media I have, because I just refuse to get any other. I can only stand one type.
You've got to do what you're capable of. That's another. You can't.
And I know Facebook
try to do too much. Yeah, no good.
And I know Facebook is also kind of, honestly, kind of a cesspool too. But like, that's the only one I know. I know it, so I'm like, okay. But a lot of people can be open. And for me, I work 40 hours a week at a day job where we're not allowed to be on any social media. Like, they will police you kind of thing on the internet, and, they know where you're going. So it's not possible for me to actually be continually doing posts and everything like that. So And plus, I'm sorry, I'm boring. Like, I don't have things that happen every day or week that's like really interesting to anyone. Yeah, I play D&D, but like, okay, cool. Yeah. But it's not like I'd rather talk about, if not my books, then other people's books. Or I want to talk about the shows that I'm interested in. Like last night I just watched Castlevania Nocturne on Netflix and it was amazing. So like I have other things I would rather talk about, but then at the same time it's trying to engage, finding the energy to engage when sometimes, you know, after 8 hours at the job, I just want to go home and either read a book, watch a TV, or just zone out to like mindless videos on YouTube. So it's finding the motivation to get to be constantly there on social media. And some people can like seem to do it. I just don't, it's not so much comfortability, it's just the energy or the desire to keep up with that. Because I also don't want to bombard people with self-promotion or ads or anything, because I find myself turned off personally as a reader when I'm continually seeing the same ad again and again and again. It's like, oh, we want to keep it in your mind, but I'm like, I'm already not interested and my interest is going down because you keep bombarding me with that. So that's why my newsletter is once a month. I'm like, that's about all I can do. Sometimes there's news, sometimes there's not, but at least it's like a, hey, hi, remember me if you know, there's some back titles if you don't really like my recent stuff. So it's, I tried as a reader, I try to look at, okay, well, what can I, for a reader like myself, what would I want as from a writer, or, you know, vice versa, I don't know. But it's, sometimes I wonder if people remember that writers are also readers, so we also consume what we put out. So it's this like weird juggling that we do.
Interesting, you know, an interesting point, because one of the first things that I do on a new platform is I stop and take the lay of the land. I find the people I care about, I follow those people, and I find, okay, what are they posting about? Like, this isn't it's not all me buy my book, because nobody wants that, right? None of us respond to that. But you know, you've already mentioned a couple of things that okay, first of all, I didn't know about Nocturne, and now I have to finish Castlevania because I'm still on season 1, and I have to finish that so that I can
Going.
So but the reason I follow the authors that I follow is because of the other things they talk about, the other things that Scalzi talks about, the other things that Jay talks about, the other things that Gaiman or Sean and McGuire, or pick a person, right? And so to kind of feed into the what works for promotion, and not to use I'm going to use the buzzword of the decade, this authenticity thing, but I'd rather just be a nerd. I'm going to post pictures of my miniatures on that I'm painting on Instagram. I'm going to prattle off about whatever sci-fi show I'm absolutely nuts about on what other elsewhere. On Facebook, I'm going to nerd out about the other authors I know who have new books out. And on top of and all of this, another thing that I guess I don't want promotion to be is transactional. I'm gonna like so and so and promo so and so that when my stuff comes out, they'll promo me. No, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a shout out because this person is awesome and that book is amazing, and I want other people to know about it because I got to read it when it was still in drafts, and you suckers have to wait. So you need to go and get that as soon as it comes out, right? I think that kind of community building in promotion it's not only valuable if you're looking at it from we have to keep promo from being a bad word, right? It's that kind of engagement is not it's great for promo, but it's also really good for just building community, right? Which is what at least for me, what I really want. Like, it's great that you're buying my books, and if my publisher's here, I wanted my publisher to know that that's still a very high priority. I want people to buy my books, but also I'm a writer who wants to nerd out with other writers. I want to nerd out with other people who are watching whatever sci-fi I'm watching, who are reading the same romances, who are playing the same RPGs. Like, I want to build that community because then that's best for all of us in the long run.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Like, you want to build that community, you want to find your people, right? So, I mean, I do the same thing on my social media. You're going to find, well, if you were on my Instagram yesterday, you were going to see pictures of the first loaf of pumpkin bread I baked this fall, because I bake all the time. So you're going to see a lot of my baked goods, and maybe some recipes on my blog. But yeah, I constantly share book recs. I do posts about it. I scream about them. If I see a book on sale that's fantastic, I'm going to tell you about it on social media, because I want everybody to read these fantastic books. All the stuff that, and mostly my life is fairly boring as well. I think, I'm not doing tons of exciting stuff. But yeah, I'm going to try to share the things I love, the books I love. The recipes I try, whatever. We're going to get into leaf changing season soon, and I'm going to be taking pictures of fall colors. It's going to be all that stuff. And hope that, that sort of draws like-minded people in who, maybe hopefully want to read my book. And because I share stuff about that too. I like to, share book quotes. I like to share about what I'm working on. But I'm with both of you. I don't like to be bombarded with just the same ad and the hard sell and buy my book every 5 seconds. Like, it really makes me want to run in the other direction. So it's sort of finding kind of that balance of, here are my books, aren't they pretty?
Yeah, but I think about being a reader, and like, I want to know when your book's coming out. Like, please, Sean McGuire, tell me when the next Crazy Children Whisked Off to Another World book comes out. I need that book, right? The Anna Burke, just her latest novel came out, and I was like, yes, by all means, give me the book. So I want to know. I just don't, Joe Schmo mystery writer. I don't need to know every 5 minutes on your platform that you have a new book out, because that's all that you post about, or that's all that's on your have you both so I recently, one of the most interesting, fun, and successful things that happened for me in this first year was sort of a collaborative promo with other authors. And I was wondering if you had similar experiences with that being sort of a positive promotion for your work.
I haven't had the opportunity to do that, so I'm not sure. I don't know where you would find opportunities like that to do. So if you know, then let me know.
Okay. Awesome.
I think I haven't done anything recently. I think, it's one of those things that I don't know. I guess if the opportunity comes your way, I think it can be great. Because you're sort of, if you're collaborating, you bring in your own, like, each of the authors brings, in their own audience, right? And you're exposed to more books, right? More books, more authors. So I think that can be great if, you've got the right group of people and right group of authors that you have that opportunity to work with. I think it can be great. But it's awesome that really worked for you this year. That's
I guess
I
I rolled a 20 there. Okay.
No, it's one of these. I don't know. You have to. It's finding that sort of community, both, with other writers and with readers. Because if you can find it with other writers, then you can have, so many great opportunities to kind of work together. And yeah, I think that can work out really well. And yeah, sometimes it does feel like you're lucking into those things.
I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat. I don't know if we want to
Should we try to turn to some of those?
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, should I scroll? Well, okay, I'll keep scrolling, but we just had one that says, let's see, how do you avoid gathering writers looking for that transactional share and find readers so you can join reader conversations? That was from Valerie. And I'll scroll back to see what else I can find, but we can talk about that one a little bit. And there's also,
how do you avoid gathering writers looking for it? I don't worry about it, honestly. The street takes care of things on its own. I don't really worry about that. I mean, I'm going to do my due diligence, I think. And again, greenest author here. But is your book awesome? If I read your book and your book's awesome, I don't really care about that transactional share. I mean, I also want all boats to rise, right? You've got a good story. We need more good stories. Hello, pervasive book bans. Like, get your awesome story out into the world. So, if you're just looking for a way to get your book out into the world and it's a total transactional deal, then fine. It doesn't mean that we're going to be best buddies. I may not do that for you forever. But I'm less concerned about that and more concerned about keeping my side of the street clean, I guess. Oh, that's a clarification on that question. So you can find readers so you can join reader conversations. Yeah, I'm sorry, Valerie. I don't know really how to tackle that one. I just seem to find myself in reader conversations because I'm a reader.
Readers do tend to congregate together.
And those of us who are, and I was thinking about some of the groups that I'm in on Facebook or some of the closer circles where we're all reading each other's stuff and talking smack about the world and whatever on various social platforms. That it comes back to just being honest about what I'm interested in and what I'm reading, and I'm participating in those reader conversations as a reader, and I just happen to be a writer with a book. Here, check it out.
I think that also that the idea of transaction can also dip into the darker idea that writers shouldn't be paid for their work. I think it's like it is a transaction in some respects, because we do like to be paid for our work because it is a labor of love, absolutely, but it's also a creative, we're artists. If we would like some compensation because it's not cheap, especially as an indie publisher, writing, and it's obviously balancing. We want a community, we want people of like minds, we want to have such a good time and bring people into our awesome craziness, and just get the word out because we want to share and share alike. But it's also, I don't know, it also is a transaction, but it's more than that. Obviously it's more, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it just kind of made me think of how some people pirate books and and theft, and it's just like, okay, I get it, but the books aren't that much, really. I mean, one of my longest books, Leopold, is like almost 200,000 words. Like, it is a monster, and I think I only have it up for $4.99 as an ebook. That took me like almost a decade to write off and on. So it's like, and don't even ask me the cost of the editing of that monster, but it just, yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's just like, we do deserve some compensation. So we want you to buy our books, but we also want you to do it out of love for the writing, love for the storyline. If you like us, kind of thing. It's just that balance of like, I don't know.
You're being, I would say that you're being a lot nicer than I am, and I'm going to be less conciliatory. I'm not saying you're being conciliatory. I think you're very kindly stating your concern, where I'm very at the risk of pissing someone off. I'm like, stuff it. There's a million ways that you can read books for free.
Yes.
There's a million ways that you can
Yes.
read books for free. I have a ton of content that's free. You want free? I got a ton of fan fiction. I've got, stories you can get off of my newsletter, or, there's plenty of ways that you can read.
Libraries.
My stuff is in the library. I found out
Yep.
recently. Thank you, Multnomah County. There's all kinds of ways that you can consume any kind of content that you want to read for free. If you're going to bitch because a book costs $2, $4, $5, $15, $20, $30, I don't care. If you want the story, that's how much it costs. If you want to support the artist, that's how much this particular endeavor costs. You want stuff for free? There's plenty of free stuff, but you can't have everything for free.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I'm on a budget. I can't buy every book I want immediately all the time. Like, I
have a wish list a mile wide.
Oh,
Sure.
completely. Me too. I have complete sympathy for everyone who, can't afford every book they want immediately. So yeah, I use my library and I budget out when I can buy things. And sometimes stuff goes on sale and it's really exciting. And then I buy a new book for myself. And then I yell far and wide when I've read that book that, this is a great book, go read this, because, we want to kind of pay it forward. But yeah, there are plenty of places that, Valerie just mentioned all the free Booksy and all the newsletters. There are tons of newsletters you can sign up for to, get like
So much. Oh my gosh.
So many to like see cheap and free books. And as authors, you can, list your books in some of those newsletters and try to get the word out, if you have a sale or if you have a new book. And
and at the same time, on the other end of the scale, and let me just remind folks, our stories have value. Our work has value. And I don't understand. Well, first of all, the folks that get stuff for free are also half the time the same folks that are going to come at you about your editing, or they're going to come at you about the length of your story, or yes, I got this story for free, but you could have done X, Y, or Z, or why isn't it longer? And I know that that's a gross oversimplification, because I have been broke and I have hustled and I have pirated books and I have done those things, and I understand why those things happen. But I also understand that at some point I was like, this is ridiculous. I love this thing. Here's my money, right? If I can give Robert Jordan $18.95 for something that doesn't speak to anything in my life, that I can absolutely give an author at a small press the same and it's elevated, right, from a smaller press. It's not going to be as cheap as it is on Amazon, but you can bet that I want to go to the publisher and I want that person to get that money for that story. Our stories have value. And sometimes, my friends, we pay for that. Okay, I'm preaching. Wow, I need to calm down. Hey, coffee's kicking in or something.
So, it needs to be said sometimes, like it does. Though I'm sure if, people are here, they're readers, and hopefully they understand that stories have value. Okay, let's see. We had
there is a question in the Q&A specifically. Okay.
Nope, that's what I was looking at. Let's see. And I think it's a little like a question we also had in the chat. So let's see. From the Q&A, Michael writes to us, I feel like I'm not very good at narrowing my fields when trying to find authors in specific genres I enjoy. Like Virginia, I always want to know about new books from authors whose work I'd enjoy. But if I just go looking on Blue Sky or wherever, I wind up deluged with books outside genres I prefer. No shade on those genres. They're just not for me. Do you have any tips on finding genre-specific communities, feeds, info on social media? And I say that that's related to a question in the chat, because there was also one in the chat about, do we see certain genres, certain groups of authors, or types of book congregating on particular social media platforms?
I only have Facebook, so I'm not sure. I know there's so many others, like there's Book Talk, like there's Instagram, there's, Twitter, all dead name, that's the thing too. I can't fathom being on so many social media, so I'm not sure. I think it's just the algorithm to a certain extent is, you click on an ad just because you're curious, and then the next day it's just nothing but those type of books or that ad again and again and again. So I don't know, it could be mostly algorithm. If I had to guess.
I do a lot of deep diving. I mean, I will for authors that I like, I will see where they're promoting and who they're collaborating with and what panels they're on. And you get a lot of, if you like this book, then you'll like that book. And recommendations from bookstores. Now, the truth is, it does require a little bit of effort if you want to find something that you are confident you'll dig. I start reading a lot of stuff that's not a good fit, and had to give myself permission to not finish some things. Like, okay, this isn't actually in the lane I thought it was. I need to go do something else. I think I mentioned Shauna McGuire like 3 times around today, which is hilarious. I think I found Shauna McGuire because I was reading some V.E. Schwab, and it was like, believe it or not, there was some, if you like this, you would like that, which in retrospect isn't quite in perfect alignment, but it worked. Finding out about Alan Moore because I was reading Neil Gaiman, exactly not the same thing. Finding out about all of the Bold Strokes authors because I started reading Radcliffe, or finding out about some of the other Ilva authors because I was reading Jay. Publishing houses are a good fit. Other authors in the same publishing house. It's kind of a Gen X over here. It's kind of a, oh, I like this artist. Who else is on that label from back in the day? But the number of authors that I found, because I found a couple of folks at Tor Books that I really dug. Again, Bywater, before I was lucky enough to get it signed on with Bywater, I found a couple of authors with them, and then I was like, oh, let me check out some of these other authors. So that's how I kind of track down folks within this specific genre. And then once I've got those folks, mining the hell out of their feeds and their newsletters and the ways that they're communicating, because they're shining a light on some of their peers, which gives me more things for my eternally growing TBR stack.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say kind of the same thing. Like, find the authors that you love on whatever social media platform you're on, and then see who's following them, see who they're following, see who, the algorithm suggests for you. Because the algorithm sometimes actually does give you some people who are writing the same types of things, who are followed by the same types of people. So you can sort of kind of worm your way into that community on a particular social media platform by just looking for those authors that you love, and then seeing what their network is and kind of working your way out from there. If you're another author, then it's looking at all the things they're doing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and seeing how they're promoting their work,
and learning from someone else.
Yeah.
If you're a reader, it's just now you have 25,000 more books to be read stack. But if you're an author, you also probably have the 25,000 new books for your to be read stack. But you're also maybe looking at all the ways they're trying to promote themselves, the different review sites that are following that. So you can go submit to them or look at them, or, you're looking at all that stuff and trying to learn from it.
So we just got a message that we got 10 minutes left.
Okay. All right. Any Well, I guess, okay, so 10 minutes left. Any other questions coming in from the chat? I think I saw the ones that were in there. I don't know if anyone else has anything left they want us to answer before we, let's see. I think I saw we answered that one.
There was an early one. Does anyone see specific genres congregating on specific platforms, which and where? I have to say I haven't really noticed that. I do know that for my tiny little section of sapphic fiction, a bunch of us are migrating off of Twitter. Although I am sticking around for a bit of Schadenfreude to just watch it die.
Yeah, I haven't closed my account. I'm just really not posting. I'm just sort of watching. And also, like, I want people to be able to find me. You know, the people who are on Twitter, who followed me on Twitter, I don't want to disappear. I want to leave my links up there so they can, you know, go to my website, sign up for my newsletter, actually like find where I am now that Twitter is kind of crashing and burning, or it seems like it's crashing and burning. I don't know. It's been hanging on. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about specific. Like I said, I think a lot of people, a lot of authors are trying, a lot of people are trying some new social media to try to find their community again. So yeah, you kind of gotta go and search for people and see who's where. It's frustrating for us all.
All right, we got one more in the Q&A section and one more in the chat.
All right, so let's see. Q&A is asking, or let's see, the chat's asking us best advice you ever got for marketing and promoting yourself.
I got, honestly, be real. The one that I got was to be real. And I'll be frank, even though I'm using a pen name, Virginia Black is not the name my mother gave me. I got a lot of names my mother didn't give me. But being real when I'm talking to you all, being real when I'm engaging with folks. If it's about a promotional opportunity, being upfront that it's about a promotional opportunity or a promotional conversation. And so far so good. I haven't heard anyone saying gnarly things about me, but you know, I'd probably be the last one to know.
Yeah, I mean, I think my best advice was probably something along the same lines, you know, don't, you know, you want to be yourself, be authentic. Don't just, you're promoting, but don't just do the buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, like, because that's going to turn everybody off. Just try to, you know, become a part of that community and a good part of that community if you can, which means, you know, not just, you know, trying to get people to buy your book, but yeah, promoting other people's books and, you know, talking about things that you enjoy and engaging with people. So I think it's the best I've heard. Oh gosh, questions all over. Let's see. The one from the Q&A is, any tips for organizing and coordinating promotional events with bookstores / other writers, especially the initial outreach and timelines for planning these sorts of events? I have not done any of the organizing myself, so this isn't, I've done these types of events, but I haven't actually been one of the people organizing. So I don't know if either of you have.
I have done a few. Hold on. If the question went away. Okay, there it is.
Sorry.
The biggest tip is start earlier than you think.
Probably a very good tip.
Yeah.
The best piece of advice I got from another writer was you start laying the groundwork 6 months at least before the book's coming out. And to give a chance for that, for the work to grow and to snowball and to build those relationships in a way that's not like, my book's coming out, on Tuesday. Can you, hook me up? So give yourself time. And also, particularly with bookstores, finding out, it's just like submission guidelines, like find out the way they want to be contacted and the way they want to engage, and then meet them where they want to be met.
Sounds like great advice. Okay, let's see. We do have one more question, but we also only have a few minutes, and I want to make sure we all get a chance to tell everyone where they can find us. So I don't know if anybody wants to take a shot at this question very, very quickly, or if we should save it for
Yeah.
Discord.
Probably save it. I don't have an answer to it. I don't really know how to use data analytics, so
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so why don't we hold that over, and everyone can definitely join us over in Discord after this. But we've got a couple of minutes, so why don't we all tell everyone where they can find us and find out about our books and stuff like that. So okay, go for it.
I'm very simple. I only have a website, mdgrimmwrites.com, and on Facebook, I'm just MD Grimm author, I think, just very simple. I don't have an author page as of yet. It's just a normal Facebook page. So that's kind of where I am. I'm still very small. So
you do what you can handle. That's
right.
Everybody should be doing what, they're best at, what they can handle.
I think all the commercial is right here. I did this so that I wouldn't forget. So there's the website, all the places. I'm either Virginia Black Writes or Virginia Black 517. There's the, oops, sorry, wrong way. There's the new book that's already on pre-order. There's an anthology from Bywater Books with one of my shorts coming out this, not yet this month. Tomorrow is this month. I know that it's Halloween season eve. And if you want to check out the first 3 chapters of my first novel, Consecrated Ground, I just dropped a link in the chat, which is in line with Halloween season. It's about a war witch who slays vampires. So
nice. Let's see. I'm all over the place, but so probably best way to find me is my website, antoniaaquilante.com. That has the links to my newsletter and Blue Sky and Instagram and Facebook and all of that. My latest was To Love the Dragon King, a dragon shifter fantasy romance that came out in August. I'm working on the second book in that series now. But yes, there was a question about could we post links in the Discord, and then Monique reminding everybody that there is a Discord channel for sharing social media handles. So I'm sure we can all drop our links there for you. But I think we're about out of time. So I just want to thank our panelists for joining me in this fantastic discussion, and thank everybody for joining us and listening and asking questions. So
thanks.
Thanks.
awesome. Nice to meet you both.
You too.
Meet you too.